Long ago, the arbitrators infused a mythical blade with their dark powers, but the blade was stolen and lost to time. Now it has returned, choosing an unlikely host through an act of treachery and stabbing his heart, transforming him into a beast fit for the gods.
The Bane of Yoto is both an award-winning novel, and then we also have a 3D comic app that is developed by Leviathan Games.
The Bane of Yoto is a story about a mythological type figure, Yoto, and I like to describe it as a mix of the Incredible Hulk meeting Avatar.
Yoto is an incredible story, especially for folks who love fantasy and science fiction. I've always kind of characterized it as Conan the Barbarian meets Star Wars. It's got that great kind of lived-in feeling that the Star Wars universe has.
This is a heavy bit of sci-fi, action, horror, brutally violent, which I like. Anytime you have like a big revenge story, I'm a giant fan of that.
Yoto is this pretty standard part of a race, the Numa, is basically stabbed in the chest, and what this actually causes him to do is grow into what he's being termed as is a monster. It starts with the book and the story, and it's grown into the app, but I think it's going to go far beyond even that. Transmedia is a blossoming form of storytelling that is often driven by technology.
There are a lot of different influences that come into the production of Yoto, both from the comic app and the book and all the different merchandise. It's comics, it's video games, it's movies, and it's music all thrown into a blender and poured out, and that's what Yoto is.
The Bane of Yoto app is an interesting combination of comic book and interactive experience, but it's been redesigned for mobile devices.
We take our 2D assets and we put them in the 3D application. You can move the scene around, experience it in a different way.
It looks 2D, but there's a 3D element. The technology tilts as you look at it.
The app is a collection of various artwork and effects and cinematic story.
The app is a digital comic book of the story, and it's a pretty new concept.
The app is an incredibly innovative and unique way to look at sequential story. It adds this three-dimensional effect to two-dimensionally generated art.
You're looking at each panel of the story one by one. So in that sense, it's like a comic viewer, but then it goes to the next step where we don't want to just try to say that this is a comic book, because it's not. It's an entire experience.
We start off with a script or even a chunk of the story. From there we discover or generate a shot list, and then we take storyboards off of that. The paneling then from there is broken out into layers so that parts of it can move, whether it's a hand or it's a head or it's something with the torso or something in the background. So everything is separated into layers and organized so that it can be allowed to move or be animated later on in the process.
I'm handed Brandon's art and I scan it into the computer. So I bring it into Photoshop and I clean it up, break it up into layers, separate the arms from the bodies, etc. Basically making 2D assets for the 3D modelers.
It was specific to, obviously, creating the whole thing, movement, the 3D environment, camera interacting correctly, going through all the different panels and stuff, and then just in general what a programmer does is, it's the process of taking the art that an artist gives you and just, I guess, the outcome of what people expect to see.
We didn't have the budget for a video game, so we were looking at different opportunities as to how we could really jump into the market and present something cool and original.
With the app, we had no idea what it was going to be when we got started.
So I think it really pushes the boundaries of how we appreciate the aesthetic of the visual art.
Something that Wyeth of Leviathan Games had talked to me about was the comic market. Nobody's doing anything really interesting or new with that.
Everyone's consuming media now on mobile devices, and we thought it'd be really interesting to come up with a way to reinvent the comic book experience?
It's gone through like this crazy transformation and everything. It's gone from, really crappy Flash game that we did a while ago, and now it's just this really cool, really good selling, book, and just a really awesome comic app and everything. It's just really cool to be part of that.
What's up? What's up? Welcome to Detroit. Yeah. Like TV Cribs over here or something.
Who's Celldweller? I am Celldweller.
Switchback. Switchback. How can it be too late?
I've been in quite a number of movie campaigns. Most recently, like Battleship, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, the new Ghost Rider 2 movie, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3, Superman, the list goes on. Everything that is Celldweller is me, and it's basically anything that I hear in my head.
Blue Stahli is me, this guy. Got the body of a 12-year-old Asian girl, not a full band, just a tiny little person making a lot of big noise.
Originally, I didn't plan to have any audio whatsoever. Throughout the process, as it evolved and as it grew, we realized, it was just boring, it was missing something. And so I had a list of 3 bands that I wanted to approach. Celldweller was the first on my list, and you guys were the easiest to work with.
One of the cool things is that in Chapter 3 of Bane of Yoto, you will be hearing some Blue Stahli. That is right. You'll be hearing me soundtracking the ass-kicking.
As far as Fixed is concerned, I actually didn't know Fixed was associated with Celldweller.
And really, Fixed isn't just a record label. We're more of a multimedia conglomerate focused mainly on music, but we have branched outside of that.
I approached Fixed for that reason. I wanted something that was that fit pop culture well, what I consider pop culture.
Initially, I was not open to working on Yoto. In fact, I turned the idea down. Even into Fixed as a business, I want to make sure that everything we're doing is great, and one thing we had never done is publish. So I felt like we won't be able to do this author, Joshua Viola, we won't be able to do him justice. Josh had gone back to James at the time from Fixed, and had explained more in detail why he felt Fixed was the place to be. And after an explanation, I was like, if we have somebody on our team like Josh who understands what Fixed is, and that we are homegrown and we are building all the time, constantly growing and opening new doors, he understood that and believed in that whole vision and wanted to be a part of that vision. And that was when I actually was not only open to the idea of publishing Yoto, but being actually excited about it.
I approached Klayton about other projects. So I pitched the Celldweller Unshakeable app. I also was behind the Yoto t-shirt design, as well as the first-person shooter, the art for that single. I pitched my idea, a concept for a music video.
It's funny because you follow the mold of most of the people that are in my company. Most of them are in my company because they kind of barge their way in. And in a lot of ways, a lot of the stuff you've been involved in, like you already said, you came to us going, I really would like to do this. And then I would think about it and go, all right, let's see something. So when it came time to do or discuss the Unshakeable music video, I was like, you know what, I wonder if Unshakeable would be a way to approach this particular look. And after we got past our first 15-second clip, I was like, this is legit, this is gonna be cool. Like I said, I wasn't only open to it after hearing more of Josh's side of it, but also I was actually pretty excited. And I think there's a lot of good things ahead. This is Klayton from Celldweller.
And this is Josh Viola from the Bane of Yoto.
And this is Bret from Blue Stahli. Do you like comic books? Do you like sci-fi? Do you like horror? Do you like fantasy? Of course you do. You're watching this. What are you, weird?
Check it out. It's revolutionary.
It is one of the best comic apps out there.
I think it's really unlike anything else that you'll see on your mobile device.
I think that media is changing. I think the technology has changed media.
It's just got all these elements that make a good story.
Just the unique experience that you'll get out of it.
There is no better way of diving immediately into the world of Yoto than through the iOS app.
It's beautiful.
A very incredible piece of artwork in my opinion.
You need Bane of Yoto in your life. Is it not already? Well, it should be.
There's lots of great stuff coming up, and you can go get a bunch of it for free right down there.
And have we mentioned that the app itself is free?
There's links.
Beep.